Usually I try to give y'all some heads up, but today I was just too tired. I was in Meredith last night doing a fundraiser for the Meredith Autism Program. I got to speak and meet lots of families that have children with autism and lots of physicians that were there. Anyway, it was really fun and nice to connect. Oh, Sydney and Chap. Nice to connect with them. It was in Wake Forest, for the record. I'd never been to Wake Forest. It's really a nice town, this place called the Sutherland. So I spent the night in Rocky Mount, got up, went to Target, went to a baby shower, and now I'm in my pajamas trying to not take a nap before we go to a wedding in like an hour. So let's see. I'm really here to talk about this whole Holly Spring, hi Heather, Holly Spring politic, aka Middle North Carolina Viper Pit. Ew. Anyway, I know y'all are sick of hearing about it, and I am too, so I'm just going to put this out there, and then that's going to be no more. So the last couple weeks, I've been writing a lot about Halloween, and y'all might be like, oh, yeah, we know. I don't know why it's really striking me this year. Maybe it's as Amos gets older, and it's hard to get him to do regular things. And then, where's Amos, Kim? He's upstairs watching shape videos, even though he just peed in his pants, and he's not supposed to. But I just needed like 20 minutes of quiet. Okay, so, Charlotte's been out of the country. I wish I could go out of the country. So anyway, so Charlotte, I've been writing a lot of stuff about Halloween, and a lot of kind of things like, my son's almost 12. He wants to trick or treat. Is he too old? Does he worry that other people think he's too old? And I'm like, he's a child. Like, we're all supportive of not giving our kids phones and not having social media. But then there's this like, well, you can't trick or treat after 12. And I don't agree with that. Because what if Amos is 12 and that's finally when he likes trick or treating, and then I'm not allowed to do it anymore? So anyway, Apex somehow got in the news because they have an ordinance from like 1972 saying you cannot trick or treat over that age. And I was like, well, that's weird. So I called, which is, what I do. Hey, Lauren, what would our teens do? Exactly. Like, smoke pot, be on their phones, send pictures of their privates? No. So I called Apex and talked to somebody in the police department, and they totally laughed. They were like, oh my gosh, that's the dumbest. Yes, I'm in my pajamas, and I just saw one of the neighbors, which is so embarrassing because, anyway, he's not used to probably seeing people in their pajamas. And now you made me forget what I was talking about. Oh, Apex. They were like, no, we don't abide by that. That's a dumb old statute. We're not going to worry about it. I was like, oh, well, good. There's the story. So then somebody said, well, you ought to look at Holly Springs. They just actually started, they have this ordinance they pass every year, a resolution. So I go on their website, and yes, on October 17th, they had a town meeting, and they approved this resolution with 9, they call them suggestions for a courteous and safe Halloween. Courteous. So the first thing I did was call my lovely police chief, Jay Fortenberry, and I said, is this something like we have? Is this normal? And he was like, no, we don't have that, and it seems odd to me. And I was like, oh, so see, it does seem a little odd to me too. He said, we do things for safety, like wear bright colors, watch out for cars. Hi from Mooresville. Hi, Audra. Missed you too. And anyway, so I was like, okay, so I'm not totally off the mark. So I wrote about these 9 rules. And, oh no, my computer. Oh, there it is. So, and I called all the town council members, and nobody answered. And I called the mayor, like, last, because he's listed on all the numbers. Well, darn if he didn't answer. His name's Dick Sears. Never heard of him. He could be an atheist, Republican, Democrat. For all I knew was his name. Well, evidently, there's a lot of hot mess going on in Holly Springs that somehow I fell into. So I call him and say, I'm a writer. I'm from Eastern North Carolina. I have 4 children. He said, congratulations, which was nice. And I said, I just am really interested to hear about this whole trick-or-treating thing. I said, I have a son, one that's almost 12, and then one with special needs that's young. And some, I want him to be able to trick-or-treat. And he was like, they're just suggestions, he's very firm in how he was saying that to me. He wasn't laughing like Apex. And I said, well, that's okay. I said, well, tell me. I said, number 6 says people should stay in their own neighborhoods. And his response was, and this is a direct quote because I, wrote it down. We have folks coming from Fuquay, and it is my personal opinion that we don't particularly want people outside our neighborhood to come into our neighborhood. So we talked a little bit more, and then I said, okay, so you're telling me you don't want people coming from Fuquay into your neighborhood. He said, well, I never said that. And I said, well, that's what you said. I read it back to you. And he said, well, I want to retract it. Now, retracting is its own, wonderful thing in itself to talk about. If we could all retract our actions or thoughts or words, no one would be in prison. So his visceral reaction, was, no, stay in your own neighborhood. But then when I said it aloud to him, it sounded bad. So of course he wanted to retract it. That's why I didn't retract it. But it was funny. Somebody made this really great comment to me. Let's see if you can figure this out. Why would you report that when you read the statement back, he wanted to retract it and print not only that statement that he wanted to retract, but also the fact that he wanted to retract it? Seems a little over the top. Wars get started over stuff like this. Wars? Not in Edenton, they don't. But anyway. So, people went all crazy. And just for the record, there's this awesome thing called Fuquay memes. And it is hysterical. I would love to do an Edenton memes, but I'm sure it wouldn't make you very popular. So anyway, so the mayor did not like my post. And a lot of other people didn't too. Now, I will say, overwhelmingly, oh no, our bishop's on here. Hi, Rob. Overwhelmingly, people were so come to Holly Springs, we love you. But there were also people that really were trying to support him and what he said. And I think this whole stay in your neighborhood thing, coming from somebody that's not perfect, has a real undercurrent of race to it. You stay on your side of the tracks, I'll stay on my side of the tracks. And maybe that's not what's being said, but that's what it feels like to me. And everybody's saying, well, it's not a law, it's just a suggestion. Well, when I was really little in Rocky Mount, there was still the old sign that said colored water fountain. And at that point, it wasn't a law anymore. And I remember seeing that and my mother saying, that used to be against the law. And I said, well, why is that sign there? And she was like, well, it's not a law, anymore. It shouldn't be there. But it was there. And so that sign leaves you feeling a little yuck. And so that's how the stay in the neighborhood thing felt to me. So that's really why I got interested. I think there's all sorts of conspiracy things that I've been hired by some political something. I ain't got time for that. I got people poo-pooing in their pants. I got 3 older kids. I have a husband. I have to read for book character day. I mean, I got shit to do. So anyway, so people go crazy on what I'm saying. So I'm going to read you some of their comments because I love to read good comments. So one person said, the woman behind this page is ridiculous for hounding the mayor over something so ridiculously irrelevant. Irrelevant to who? I'm not sure. So, and this is really great. I've been writing for almost 2 years, and for the first time ever, with this Holly Springs stuff, I have been banned from commenting on people's comments on my own Facebook post. Talk about censorship. I mean, it's a little bit of a worry, especially because Holly Springs has this full-on anti-bullying agenda. Ooh. So anyway, this person says, I have lived in Holly Springs for 9 years. These guidelines you have chosen to dredge up are just that, guidelines. They are not laws or ordinances, but guidelines. The mountain you have made out of a molehill for political purposes is simply a resolution. As someone who has been in media for 10 years, that's sort of a slight to me because I've only been in there for 2, it's clear to me that the point of this post was clearly to paint Mayor Sears, This is like the best phrase I've ever heard. As an out-of-touch, authoritarian nut. This is trash. Full stop. Okay, out-of-touch, authoritarian nut is like the best phrase I've ever heard. And I am so appreciative to have been scolded just to have gotten that phrase. Oh gosh, now my power's getting low. I hate to say, but the kettle looks black to me. So anyway. And so here's what I said to her. Fact, I never knew Dick existed until I saw his name and called him up. I don't have any political agenda. Hey, Julie. I didn't even know if Dick was a Republican or Democrat. He's neither, FYI. Anyway, so these go back and forth, back and forth. Well, Dick puts a message on his Facebook page, re-elect Dick Sears. So I go and read it, and I'm going to read it to y'all in case you haven't. The entire Halloween resolution ordinance subject is out of control. It was crafted many years ago in response to parental concerns about children's safety when our town was much more rural. We had issues with teenagers vandalizing property and injuring young children, and we didn't have as many neighborhoods and streetlights. When I was contacted for an interview about the ordinance by Dr. Wood, she was quite aggressive and very angry. It's an angry elf. Okay, people know me. Aggressive, I'm like a hungover sloth all the time. Very angry. I get angry if like an anesthesiologist asks if my son is the R word. Not over some dodo bird mayor that I don't even know. Anyway, so that's a lie. Now, she has misquoted my response. It's a very interesting way to say it. To her question about children from other areas coming to Holly Springs. Her question was, so do you mean the kids from Fuquay cannot come to Holly Springs and trick or treat? That doesn't even sound like a question I would say. My response was that we recommend families trick or treat in their own neighborhoods for purposes of safety and to limit the number of cars driving through neighborhoods filled with trick or treaters. Everything I said was not communicated. I didn't say we don't want children from surrounding communities to trick or treat here. Hello? I didn't say we don't want kids who don't live in neighborhoods to stay away from Holly Springs. There was never any mean intent. The town's ordinance was our response to citizens' concerns. I hope everyone has a safe and happy Halloween. So I commented a very nice, like my mother would be so proud of me, polite post, and then it was deleted. So I posted it again, and then it was deleted. And I was banned. The mayor banned me from responding to his accusations. I ain't moving to Holly Springs. I might move to Fuquay. But let's just say, when a political person starts banning you from sharing their viewpoints, people, you better wake up. I don't know who's running against Mayor Sears, but if anybody wants me to come up and speak at some sort of rally, game in. And I'm a Republican, and I think that person must be a Democrat, even though Dick. So maybe that's not cool, but is it really about politics or about kindness and being nice? And I don't care if this stuff is a law or not. Just because you say it and make a point to share it on your Facebook page every year, people should stay in their own neighborhoods and go to familiar homes. Okay, do any of us go to only houses of people we know? Like, to me, the whole awesomeness of Halloween is how I've been thinking about it this year since I made my, big old faux pas. It's like, it's a chance to sit on your porch and talk to people as they come over, people you don't know, great big teenagers, and be welcoming. And so that you're the one that they say, hey, this is a great place to live. Not, what neighborhood are you from? Why don't you have on a costume? Why do you have on that mask? And then there are these people that are like, I could get raped. Okay, if somebody gonna rape you, it ain't gonna be on Halloween night in a trick-or-treat mask. I mean, that's just dramatic. Anyway. So I said to Dick, which you can't read because you could post on my behalf, Sherry, but they delete everybody. So there have been 37 comments, and there are only 16 remaining. It tells you how many, so they just keep deleting them. Dick, I'm sorry this is sort of a long post. I am a lot of things, but I am not a liar. True. I'm a native of Rocky Mount, a graduate of Salem Academy, Meredith College, UNC Chapel Hill, and received a full scholarship to NC State, where I received my PhD in educational research. Perhaps that is why I'm so interested in policy and stories, particularly ones that leave me wondering how families are being excluded. I much prefer to write about good things, and have done so on my blog, as well as major news outlets since I've been writing almost 2 years. You don't get this far by spinning untruths, and truthfully, I'm not creative enough to have made up the words you spoke to me. This is true. I mean, why would I do that? I have shit to do, though it might not seem like. Number 1, I never initiated the conversation regarding Fuquay Varina. I had no idea that Fuquay Varina was near Holly Springs, so I wouldn't have even known to ask that. I know where Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill are, but I mean, I'm from Eastern North Carolina. Do people up there, do y'all know where Salmon Creek and Coleraine and Columbia and Plymouth and Hertford and Windsor are? No, you don't. I mean, I didn't before I lived here. So anyway, I listened to you, and then you told me I was being rude because he kept talking, and I would eventually interrupt, and that was rude. But when a mayor tells you, and you're a writer and a mother, a North Carolina, native, and says you're being rude, again, that's a little worrisome to me. And I go back to that authoritarian comment that person made. It felt a little bullyish to me, and he loves the non-bullying agenda, which is a worry to me, because I think of a bully telling somebody they're being rude. I think of a bully calling you a liar. I think of a bully banning you from their page, deleting your comments. Hello? Okay, so anyway, I'm not going to read all this because it gets long. I said, what do I have to gain by lying? I hope to encourage folks and the town of Holly Springs to think about the suggestions and how they make others feel. My town of Edenton is pretty great. It's not fancy, but we try to be nice. Our sheriff issued a list of safety things in the paper. Didn't make national news because it's just nice. I understand you are a big proponent of ending bullying. I wish you well. Thank you, Adrian H. Wood. Cut me off. Okay, so somebody wrote this really funny comment, because I like to write the funny ones too. I feel like deleting someone's post is the adult version of a tantrum. Oh, yeah, that's real funny. Anyway. Now, these are some people from Holly Springs, and again, I love the people from Holly Springs. Kim Miller, if somebody deletes your comments, they have something to hide. I know, right? These are some comments of people that live in Holly Springs, and some that don't, that really feel like the mayor is right. And now this is what I call cluelessness and not knowing it, which is a worry. So I'm going to read some comments, and if you're watching this and hear one of your comments, don't go calling me. I'm not going to ban you. Get all the mad you want, but you wrote it. Personally, I don't enjoy when carloads of kids we don't know are dropped off to trick-or-treat in our subdivision. I've never seen their parents park and walk with them. If people want to think I'm a snob, I'm okay with that. But my preference is to have fewer cars, familiar children, and parental supervision. It takes away the excitement when I see a carload of people hop out knowing they're not from my neighborhood, and I don't know them. But just from my perspective, as long as the kids are safe and have fun. The wackos are grasping at straws. I applaud you for still wanting to be the mayor for so many crazy people. You are a better person than I am. That was somebody's comment. I guess I'm the wacko, and the mayor doing this. Now, the mayor's wife got involved, which is always interesting because, we all know our husbands can have terrible judgment. And so, is this what Halloween has come to? Exactly, Catherine. Can it just be fun? Go out. I don't care if you're 6'10" and, orange. Trick or treat. Here's a Twix. I mean, it's fine. Can it be fun? Anyway, so the mayor's wife gets involved. And she's first, really nice and apologetic. And she said, and then when I said, he's banned me, so I can't even comment. She said, how did you pick this needle in a haystack? Meaning this story. And I said, well, I'm a blogger, and I write about stuff in North Carolina a lot of times, and I'm interested in Halloween, and it's been in the national news, so on Apex, and that made me curious. She said, I'm sorry you were offended. I think he was saying something taken out of a context. How, may I ask, did you get involved in this in the first place? Was this an interview or a phone call? How did you happen to pick the mayor rather than the people that put this in place? They could probably have had knowledge of their reasons. And I said, well, I just found his name online, mayor. And people said, you shouldn't do that. So then she said, I have no idea who any of you people are. I don't even know the origin of these posts. This only happens at the last 2 elections. I don't want to communicate with people I don't know, making something from nothing and trying to vilify an honorable man you probably don't even know. The V machine is wide. I don't know what the V machine is, but whenever I see the word V capitalized, I guess it means voting, but it makes me think of something else. And then she said, he did not mean for the statement to sound divisive. An unexpected phone call, misspoken answer. At no time did he mean to away another cue. I don't know what that means. For misspeaking, he apologizes. Let us all enjoy Halloween. We live in the neighborhood that wins the awards for the best family-friendly and happy Halloween, and we are a big part of it. As an aside, I would suggest that everyone look up the neighborhood in Holly Springs, and if I didn't live probably like 8 hours away, I would so go over there and trick-or-treat in like zombie mask and like have ketchup dripping out of my eyeballs. Anyway, and then she said, enough, please. Again, enough, please is kind of like you're being rude. Like, I've had it. That's the kind of way I talk to my children, which I probably shouldn't be proud of, but adults don't speak to each other like that. If I'm in a conversation with somebody, do I say, enough, please, when I've had enough of hearing their reason of why they believe something? I hope I don't. Then maybe I do. But I shouldn't, at least. You realize how wrong it is. Now, let's see. We should be almost done. You're all tired of this yet? Oh, maybe we're almost done. Anyway, so I'm officially Halloweened out. I'm Holly Springed out, though I do love the people from Holly Springs. And I will say that Fuquay seems like the best place on earth to live. They call it the Quay. Anyway, I really like that. We will be trick-or-treating in Edenton. And this other person said it's very expensive to buy candy for everyone. Okay, is that even like a real reason why there should be suggestions from a town? If it is, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. People have lost their bananas. Anyway, we'll be trick-or-treating. What else do we have going on? Oh, I'm going to be speaking in Little Washington on Thursday at a Chamber of Commerce fundraiser. It's women. Very excited to help women feel empowered. And let's talk about that art behind you. Oh, Caroline, I got that for my 30th birthday. My husband and dad gave it to me. And it was from this store in New York that was going out of business. And it has a signature, but it is giant. And I like it too. But we think it's like maybe people moving west. That's all I know. Not everyone lives in a neighborhood that can afford to give out candy. They should feel honored that others would want to drive and trick-or-treat there. Oh, should feel. Yes, I know. No, I agree. Sorry, don't go out to dinner and get yourself I just spent $50 on candy, and I'm sure it'll run out. But that's a great way to hang out and meet people. And I think if everybody just sort of took that stance, and instead of getting defensive, if I were Mayor Sears or his campaign manager, I would say, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. I sounded like the biggest dick. That's funny. That's his name. And that was really wrong. So I tell you what, I'm inviting everyone to come to my house. I've got the big candy bars, not the like little cheap ones, but we have a guy in our town, Larry Sellers, who gives like the big bags of M&Ms. And that's impressive. People remember that. You all remember the houses that gave the good stuff, not the people that gave you, the fake chompers or whatever. So I won't be talking about that anymore. I do have one more post on trick-or-treating that's going to come out on Monday morning. And, I have one on Blue Cross coming up this week. So if anybody's excited about Blue Cross, because it is insurance sign-up day starts for a lot of people on November 1st. So it's very exciting to see what they've been up to in their salary raises. And, what else? Amos have an IEP meeting coming up. That's going to be exciting. Fortunately, those are pretty good where we live. And that's about it. So if you want to come trick or treat, live in Holly Springs. I enjoy all the families that drive to our hood for Halloween. Of course you do, Shelly, because you're normal. So I'd just like to say again, if you think people should stay in their neighborhood for Halloween, then you were wrong. It's not an opinion. You're just wrong. It's a mean thing to say. It's like telling somebody they're fat. You shouldn't say it. I don't know who told you could say stuff like that. So you need to turn off your light and go inside and get your Bible out. And say, Lord, help me be kind. Amen.